You get to like and subscribe. I have 6 followers on social media, so no one cares. But you have to watch. You have to watch the precursor of this conversation,
Okay.
so you can watch the girls chat.
I love it.
But this is my cat fight.
Let's go.
Clayton Thomas.
Clayton Thomas. Bro, like and subscribe. Konnichiwa, my friends.
So Cat Cora,
Yes.
you're actually one of my favorite people because
Oh,
if I could
you.
start this again, I would say a la cuisine.
Yes.
But I don't want to talk about like your past because everybody's gone over pretty well of what you've done. But you have a strength within you that most don't possess, right? And most people, can see stuff when someone walks in a room, but you carry an energy that's not normal to most. So was that something that you've grown up with that's within you, or has it been something that's forged?
Well, I mean, thank you for that introduction. That's really so kind, and I appreciate that, and a lot of gratitude. I think that honestly, it's just come from a lot of, they always say iron sharpens iron, So if that tells you anything, iron sharpens iron, and I think I've been, really tested throughout my life, as I've talked about from the moment I came into the world. So I think that that's really where that comes from. That inner strength you talk about. We have 6 teenage boys that look up to us and expect us to guide them, and I think that that's something that I take really seriously, and I want to pass that down to our sons, that the strength that you have to have in this world is real. Like, it's real. And I think that the world is even more so today, with everything we have going on in the world, is it's important to know your worth. That's really important. And sometimes it takes a while to get to.
So the life experience of actually understanding. So people are going to look at you because of what you've done, right? And they're like, oh my God, you're the first female Iron Chef, which was gangster, by the way. I loved watching you growing up when you went on the show, because I watched the original Iron Chef. And then when they started to do it in American, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be as fun. But then we had Pokemon, and it kind of brought Japanese and American culture really together.
Yeah, that's mashup.
But you conquered an industry that is one of the most arrogant, male-dominated industries out there. And you brought the beauty of the South, but as you went over before and as you've discussed, your Greek heritage, which I had an ex-girlfriend in college who was Greek, and my ex-business partner was Greek, and understanding the culture. There's a warrior heritage that's built within you that has either indirectly or directly fired a lot of it. And there's a go fuck yourself attitude in there too that I adore, because I have that too. How much of that shaped not what you did professionally, but as you talk about being a mom for six boys, in a world now that men need to learn to be men, and one of the most important things young men need to learn now is how to properly support women. And I think those gender dynamics have been really fucked up, right? Especially with us having 4 kids, 3 boys, the youngest one being a daughter, but having an amazing wife who had loads of trauma in her prior relationship, so the modeling has been pretty well fucked up, right?
Yeah.
As a mom, and being a professional, the amount of travel that you probably have, right? The amount of work you have to have, and then still balancing being a mom, but then also having the history of having new relationships and then blending families and being that example. How have you put all that together, and especially with guys, how are you kind of showing them how to model, or what in many instances for most women now, the really dynamic, smart, hardcore driven women, unfortunately, have more of the examples of how men shouldn't behave.
Yeah.
So how is...
I think, I think really, well, I'll take one thing at a time, but I think with shaping our young men, I think it's just about teaching them how to respect women first. And we can do that through example as well. I think that we're pretty, having a strong mom and mother figure to watch go through some of the trials and challenges that I have to go through to raise them. One being having to go back and getting custody of 3 of my sons out of the 4 because of my ex-spouse abusing them and going in and representing myself. And I think that was like, for them, that was like, holy shit, that's badass. Like, you went in and represented yourself. You became a lawyer for like 6 weeks.
Which is what people should do.
And I think that's what you do as a strong mom and a strong parent, is that you will do anything for your children. And I think that those, us continuing to set those and showing them through example of how important they are to us, but also shaping their minds to say, listen, you have moms that are, you have, a mom, a stepmom, you have aunts, you have, what have you, that are incredible women, and you need to protect that and make that sacred. And that's how you need to go through this world and walk through this world when it comes to women, is holding that sacred, and the respect. And I think that that's number one. And then creating them into, teaching them how to cook, teaching them how to, do all the life skills. And I think that that's, when we opened Little Kitchen Academy, I think that was one of the things we wanted to do. And that's our Montessori style culinary school, is we wanted to take these young minds and these young kids from 3 years old to teens and teach them life skills that they could take for them, throughout their whole life. And that's a lot of STEM, it's a lot of math, it's a lot of science, a lot of cooking, the things that we were talking about. And I think that that's teaching our sons that also makes great men to go out in the world for whoever their partner is and for whoever they encounter in life. And I think that is, talking about my sons, is how I approach that, and being so open with them. Like, there's nothing you can come and say to me that I'm not going to love you.
Yep.
The door is open.
But there's a point
where sometimes it's TMI. Sometimes it's too much information.
I really didn't need that part.
Yeah. There's some things that I do not need to hear, but okay, I heard it. All right, because I'm here and I told you I will listen to anything. But I think it's that too, and them knowing that they have your full unconditional love, and that no matter what they do in this world, that you're still going to be there for them to, within reason, obviously. But if you make a mistake, yeah, of course, I'm here. If you you stumble, yeah, absolutely, we'll be there to pick you up. It's all of those things, and having that open door and open mind and being tolerant, that no matter what you come at me with, I got you.
Yep.
Like, I got you. And that's part of being where my experience being a warrior in this world, and like having tons of trauma too, as many women do in this world. And then we have to fight through that, and we're expected to be all of these things, even through the trauma. I think that creates a lot of that warrior mentality that, no matter what happens, you still got to get up every day, and you still got to get out in the world and make it happen, no matter what what you're going through. And I think that's how I was raised. My mom, my family were tough. The women in my family were tough. My mom, my grandmother, as I said, was an Army captain. She was a captain in the Army. She outranked my grandfather, who ended up becoming a brigadier general in the Air Force, but he outranked her when they met. So talk about tough. That was way back,
Imagine that relationship where she's giving him orders, like, get on your knees. And he's like, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm sure she did. I'm sure he did. And I'm sure he happily did. Because they were together for, 60-something years. And then my parents, my mom, My grandfather, and then my mom was raised by my grandfather and my grandmother. Can you imagine? He was a brigadier general. She was a captain in the Army and a nurse, and raised by them. And so she was, they were just tough. And my mom always told me, she said, never depend at the time. I mean, she said this. She didn't know I was a lesbian at the time, but she said, never depend on a man for your financial needs, your happiness, to get through life. Never depend. And I was in my mind, I'm thinking, or woman.
It's like, okay.
Or woman.
I got you.
But I think I was just always taught that. Like, my mom was always real. Like, no matter what, she always gave it to me honest. And I think that helps me give it to my kids honest. And sometimes I do it with a little more, she was brought up in a different time than we are. And now I can say, I love you, but, or I'm going to give you a piece of advice. I love you. I always bookend it. We didn't always get it booked in when I was growing up. They would just say,
it's like, here's what it is.
Get your head out of your ass, basically, and
you
walk away.
You can assume this over here, but this is how it's going to be.
Yeah. But so I try to pepper it with a lot of love and nurturing, so they know that I'm not mad. I'm just giving you a piece of advice, or I'm calling you out on something. But I'm not mad.
Yep.
I'm doing it because I love you,
and it's out of passion.
It's out of passion. It's out of because I care so much about you and your well-being. And so I think that's how, I walk through life, at least today.
I have one more question for you. And I'm going to pair. It's the interesting part because your perspective is different than Christina's, but I want to see if it applies in both aspects. You've ascended to the top of a profession that everyone knows. You're a mom. So the culinary arts, and it is an art, right?
Yeah.
And when you and Christina were talking, it's the beautiful part of women, of being an artist. You're like, okay, I do this in the kitchen, and I paint, and I write, and I do these because the artistic mind incorporates everything, and that's where the beauty of women comes in, of being able to bring all those in. And that's like, from a fashion standpoint, I did not look like this before I met my wife. Completely different palette
she gave
structure.
You the cool vibe.
So you've got the cooking thing down. She is one of the preeminent, nanobiotechnologists in design stuff. In your house, do your kids question your cooking? Because they're like, Mom, what do you know? Or do they respect the craft?
I mean, I've always just been like even in my top Iron Chef days, when I came home, I was just mom. Yeah, it's just mom. Sometimes they're like, you didn't melt the cheese enough with this grilled cheese. And I'm like, excuse me?
It's like, do you know who I am?
Yeah. In my own house, I have to say, do you know who I am?
And that's my point. Do you get questioned on the things that
sometimes,
you're the professional at? You're like,
sometimes they forget.
Let me have you replay a video over here just so you can have an understanding of who your mother is.
Yeah, sometimes they forget that I'm an Iron Chef and that my mentor was Julia Child. I'm like, wait, what? Did I just hear? Did I just hear the cheese wasn't melted enough, or that it wasn't crisp? The bread wasn't crisp enough on your grilled cheese?
You just come out going, let me sharpen these knives a little more. It's like, come here.
So yeah, sometimes, definitely, I get, and they love to give me some shit. It's fun.
The master of domain.
I'm very, as I got older, I became much more. You're really serious when you're young. I'm so mellow and become so much more self-deprecating for myself. I can laugh at myself.
And you have to.
You have to.
Right?
You have to. You got to have a sense of humor.
If you can't do it, no one else is going to.
Yeah. And you got to show your kids that it's okay to be silly, goofy, like make a mistake. It's okay. And the one thing that I teach my kids the most, I said one of the most important things is to learn how to apologize and to own.
What?
Yeah. And that's one of the things that
You're teaching men how to be wrong?
How to apologize.
That's one of the greatest things we can accept.
I said, if I can teach you how to apologize when you're wrong and own your shit, you're already halfway there. And so that's something that I've worked on with, especially our oldest, who's he's very business oriented, very business mind. He's genius, and our 18-year-old is a genius when it comes to stock markets and stuff. These kids are doing things that I'm like, what was I doing when I was 18? They make me look like I was sitting still. I mean, they're like drop shipping, and they're stock market, and they're in doing private equity internships. I'm like, what was I doing? Like I thought I was like. The difference
in time and where we are, and it's the hard part being a parent, because we have no frame of reference for the world that they live in now.
We don't.
Right? And you go, well, never mind, it wasn't when I grew up.
Yeah.
but being able to instill some of those principles, but having the opportunity of the effort, the hard work, the experience that we've created to be able to pass into them, that gives them that motivation to start doing those things. And I think that's the one thing of being, the parent. And my kids are like, don't say you're our dad, because I get to walk into the environment later on of watching the influence and not taking credit for it, but just like the plants and like creating a great plate. As you start with these raw ingredients and you prepare them, the finished product is going to be due to some external circumstances, and watching them grow is kind of the fun part.
It is. It's been a lot of fun
amongst all the stress.
Yeah,
and cracking,
and that too, and that's real.
Yeah,
the hustle's real.
Oh God, the hustle and the struggle.
And the struggle is real.
Yeah,
it's real.
So what's next? To wrap this up? What's the passion project? What are you doing now? You talked about doing some charitable work.
Yeah, I mean we have our little kitchen academy, which I'm really proud of. We're expanding globally, and that's again teaching 3-year-olds to teens. I've always wanted to have a cooking school that was expandable, that we could reach a lot of kids in the world, and we're doing that. Which I'm just Brian and Felicity Curran, who started that, are amazing. I've got a non-alcoholic wine, Hand on Heart, that's it's been doing great. So that's adding to that cleanse factor out there as well.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have fun.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. We have a lot in the hopper that we're working on. So producing some things and creating some projects. But I mean, I think it's just for us. For me, I think it's important to build generational wealth, and to try to, provide for the next generation somewhat. Although we're trying to make, we're doing that also with, in a human way, by giving them the tools.
Wealth is not just monetary.
Exactly.
And like you're doing, the cooking aspect is something that's passed down generationally.
Exactly.
But many families don't have the history, or their process was, well, this came in a box and I ordered this and I had this delivered to my house now.
Yeah.
And you go, that's not good.
And that's where we're at. So it's like really about giving them the tools, teaching them how to cook, teaching them how to do their laundry, teaching them all those basics, life skills.
It's like a home ec class used to be.
Listen, it's true. We have to do that at home now.
Right?
Home ec classes are gone.
Parenting.
They don't exist anymore.
Parenting is a participatory sport. It's
it
like,
is.
Good Lord. So thank you. We're going to do more.
This
There will
was
be
so
many
great.
collabs to come.
I can't wait. I'm
Away
really
we
looking
go.
forward to it.
And I could wear
Awesome.
that jacket too. So that's...
Yeah. I'll pass it on to you.